So, here's a question for you, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you said yes, but you actually meant no?
Oh, wow. Okay, that hits immediately because honestly, we all do this, right? Like someone asks you for a favor and you don't really want to do it. Or a colleague dumps extra work on you right before the weekend. Or a friend invites you somewhere and you're thinking, I really don't want to go. But what do? We smile and we say, sure, no problem.
Exactly. And then we go home and we feel, what's the word? It's not anger exactly. It's more like resentful. Yeah, we feel resentful. I don't know, like we betrayed ourselves somehow.
That's that's the perfect word actually, resentful. And today we're going to talk about something that sounds really simple, but is actually one of the hardest skills, not just in the English language, but honestly in life. And that's saying no, like cleanly, confidently, without all that guilt that comes after.
Because here's the thing that nobody tells you. Saying yes to everything, that's not kindness. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken.
So let's start with the real question here. Why is saying no so hard? And I don't mean like logistically hard. I mean emotionally hard. Because we all know how to say no. The word is simple, two letters, N-O. But actually doing it, that's a
Yeah, I think it comes down to one word, honestly. And that word is guilt. We're afraid, like genuinely afraid, that if we say no, people are going to think we're, I don't know, selfish or cold or unhelpful. We're afraid of how it makes us look.
Mm-hmm. And that fear actually has a name in psychology. It's called people pleasing, and it goes way deeper than just wanting to be liked. I mean, for a lot of people, especially, and I think this is really important, especially for people who are learning English as a second language, saying no feels even harder because you're also like navigating a completely different culture at the same time. In some cultures, saying no directly is actually considered rude.
That's such a good point. Because, in many Asian and South Asian cultures, for example, a direct no can feel almost aggressive. Like people don't say it. They use these softer phrases instead. Things like maybe later, or I'll try, or let me see. And everyone knows it means no, but nobody actually says the word.
Right, so you end up in this like impossible situation. You can't say no directly because that feels rude, but you also can't keep saying yes to everything because you're drowning. Something has to give.
And what usually gives is you. Your time, your energy, your peace of mind. You give all of it away because you never really learned how to protect it.
Oh, I love how you said that. You never learn to protect it because that's exactly what saying no is. It's not rejection, it's protection. I think that's really important.
And let's talk about some vocabulary here because, this is an English podcast after all. So when we talk about saying no assertively and assertive, that means confident and direct without being aggressive. We also use words like boundary. A boundary is the line you draw around what you're willing and not willing to do. And then there's obligation, obligation, which is that feeling that you must do something even when you really don't want to.
And guilt, Guilt, that uncomfortable feeling you get when you think you've done something wrong, even when you haven't.
Okay, so here's where it gets serious. Like, what actually happens to people who never say no? Because I think a lot of us think, oh, it's fine. I'm just being nice. But is it fine?
I can actually answer this personally because when I first started working, I said yes to literally everything. Every extra project, every late meeting, every colleague who needed help with something. I thought I was being, a team player. I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
And what happened?
And 6 months later, I was completely exhausted. Not just tired, I mean completely drained. And that word, drained, D-R-A-I-N-D, it means emptied of energy. Like, when your phone battery hits zero and it just dies? That was me. And I realized that I had given so much to everyone else that I had literally nothing left for my own work, my own goals, my own life, really.
Yeah, that's what psychologists actually call burnout. And burnout doesn't happen because you worked hard. That's the thing people get wrong. It happens because you worked hard for everyone else's priorities and completely forgot about your own.
And there's something even more interesting about this, and kind of surprising, actually. Research shows that people who never say no are actually seen as less valuable over time, not more. Because when you say yes to everything, people just stop appreciating it. It becomes expected. It's like, well, she'll do it. She always does.
That's counterintuitive though, right? Like, you'd think saying yes all the time would make people like you more.
Right. Counterintuitive. That's a great word, by the way. It means something that goes against what you'd naturally expect. And yeah, that's exactly the trap. Because the person who occasionally says no with confidence, with clarity, that person is seen as someone who has standards, someone whose yes actually means something.
Wow, that's a complete mindset shift right there. Your yes becomes more powerful when your no is real.
Exactly. So saying no isn't just about protecting yourself. It's actually about making your commitments mean something, making your word mean something.
All right, so let's get practical because this is something our listeners can actually use today, like right now. How do you actually say no in English in a way that's clear, that's respectful, and that doesn't, destroy your relationships?
Okay, so I think about this in 3 levels. Level 1 is what I call the soft no. This is for situations where you want to decline, but you still want to keep the relationship warm, like with a friend or a colleague you like.
All right, give us some examples.
Sure. So you could say something like, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I won't be able to this time. Or, and this one is my personal favorite, that sounds great, but I'm at capacity right now. Capacity meaning like I'm full, I have no more space, I'm maxed out.
Oh, I love that phrase. I'm at capacity. It's professional, it's clear, and the best part, it doesn't require any explanation. You don't have to make up some excuse or tell a story. You just say it.
And that's actually the key. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your no. I think people forget that. A simple, warm no is enough. Period.
Okay, so that's level 1. What about level 2?
Level 2 is what I'd call the firm no. And this is for when the soft no hasn't worked. Like you said no nicely, and the person keeps pushing, keeps asking, keeps trying to convince you.
Oh, we all know that person.
Right. So for that, you can say something like, I've already said no, and my answer hasn't changed. Or, I understand this is important to you, but I'm not the right person for this. It's firm, but it's not aggressive. There's a difference.
And then, I'm guessing level 3 is the big one, right?
Yeah, level 3 is what I call the boundary no. And this is for situations where someone is genuinely crossing a line. Maybe they're asking something inappropriate, or they're not respecting your time at all. For that, you just say, that's not something I'm comfortable with. Or, honestly, sometimes just the word, no. That's it. No explanation, no apology, just no. And sometimes that's the most powerful version.
Okay, but let's talk about something that I think a lot of people really struggle with, And that's saying no to your boss. Because, like, that's where most people completely freeze up, right? Your boss asks you to do something and your brain just goes blank.
Oh, absolutely. And this is actually where English skills really, really matter. Because you don't say no to a boss directly, at least not at first. Instead, you say something like, and this is a really useful phrase, I want to make sure I can give this the attention it deserves. Can we talk about prioritizing my current workload first?
That's okay. That's brilliant. Because you're not actually saying no. You're saying yes, but responsibly. You're basically saying, I care about doing good work, so let's figure out what's most important.
Exactly. You're protecting your no with a strategic yes. And in English, especially in professional environments, that's honestly the most effective approach. Your boss respects it, your colleagues respect it, and you don't burn out.
Okay, so here's something that I think a lot of people don't really talk about. You say no. You do it. You actually say the word. And then immediately you feel terrible about it. Like the guilt just hits you like a wave.
Right. And it's weird because, even when you know the no was right, even when you know you don't have time, you don't have energy, you don't even have genuine desire to help, you still feel like you did something wrong. It's this strange, almost physical feeling.
So why? Why does that happen? Like, where does that come from?
I think it's because, honestly, most of us were taught, either by our family or school or culture or all of them, that being good means being available. You know, like love looks like sacrifice. Being a good person means always being there for everyone. So when we say no, some part of our brain is like, wait, am I a bad person right now?
I wanna challenge that idea, but gently, because I think there's actually a really important difference between two things: self-sacrifice and self-destruction. And I think most people mix them up. Giving when you have something to give, that's generosity. That's beautiful. But giving until you have nothing left, until you're empty, that's not generosity. That's just damage.
Okay, that actually really hits. Self-sacrifice versus self-destruction. And I think the line between those two things is one word: sustainability. Can you keep doing this? Honestly, can you keep giving at this rate? And if the answer is no, then the no was necessary. The no was the right call.
And the guilt? Here's what I'll say about the guilt. Give it time, because it fades, especially once you see the result. You said no to one thing, and suddenly you had energy for something that actually mattered, something that was yours. And that feeling, that's the reward.
So let's bring this all together. Saying no is not selfish. It is not cold, and it is definitely not rude when it's done with respect and with clarity.
Saying no is how you teach people how to treat you. It's how you protect your time, your energy, and honestly, your self-respect. Because every time you say yes when you mean no, you lose a little piece of that.
And here's the beautiful part. In English, you now have the words to do it: assertive, boundary, capacity, resentful, burnout, obligation, counterintuitive, sustainable. These aren't just vocabulary words. These are tools, real tools for your real life.
So use them, not just in English class, but in real conversations, at work, with friends, with family. Because language is only powerful when you actually use it.
And if someone in your life needs to hear this today, share this episode with them. In English or in any language, the message is universal.
And if you're still struggling to say no to things in your life right now, I get it. It's hard. But start small. Say no to just one thing this week. Just one. And see how it feels.
We promise, it gets easier.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one.